Right, so we are going to be talking about modeling word problems specifically with expressions and equations here. So I'm going to do an example here to show you just kind of the process, and then you have an example in your notebook that you're going to complete before you start practicing on your own. So the strategies here aren't necessarily steps 1, 2, 3, but a kind of process you want to think through. Obviously, when you're working through a word problem, you're going to start with the important information, reading the entire problem beginning to end. Look for keywords. Keywords are going to tell you things like operations, tell you about what's going to be your variable, what you're looking for. Um, so when we get into the actual process, we want to pay attention to these steps, and these are the kind of the things that I'm going to actually be seeing from you. Identifying the variable is going to be important. Different steps than most word problems you've done before. You're going to be writing equations, you're going to be solving the equations, and probably one that people forget, but I think is most important, is actually writing your answer and giving it some context. So let's go through a simple example, and then you guys are going to work through one with me in a second. So this example says Keith has $500 in his savings account. He wants to have 200 by the end of the summer, and he's going to take out $25 each week for food, clothes, and tickets. We're going to write the equation, and then we're going to answer the question for how many weeks can Keith withdraw his money from his account. So the steps that we had said to read it, look for important information. Okay, so we've got $500 at the beginning. We want to have 200 by the end and withdrawing $25 each week. So that's how our account is going to be set up. So as far as what I need to see from you, and so I have it kind of listed here on the page for us. We're going to mark the important information, then we're going to identify our variable specifically. What don't you know? And specifically meaning, like if for this one, what don't we know? We don't know, and sometimes you can just look at the question. We don't know how many weeks Keith can withdraw money from his account. That's the number we're looking for. So I'm going to use W to represent my variable. You can use any variable you would like. You could stick with X every single time. But when I say be specific, meaning W isn't just like the amount of time, like it's an actual, like, let's use the unit. So W is going to be weeks, and not just weeks, but it's going to be the weeks that Keith can withdraw. Keith can withdraw, and you could say from his bank account. I'm just going to say money there. So we want to identify our variable, and then we want to, and sorry, it's going to go off the screen here. Step 3 is actually writing our equation. So with the information we had that Keith starts with $500, and then he's going to take away 25 each week. So he says he withdraws. So withdrawing means that we're going to subtract 25 each week. Tells me that I'm going to be multiplying 25 times each week. Each meaning I'm going to multiply. So 25 times each week. And at the end, we want to end up with $200 total at the end of the summer. So we started with, it's almost like we read off the sentences and we just add the math in. We started with 500, we're losing $25 each week. Each is the multiplying. So let's start, withdraw, this is withdrawing, and then this is $25 each, and you don't have to put those units in there, and then this is the end amount. So we write the equation so that then we can solve it. Minus 500 from both sides. I have negative 25W equals negative 300, and then I can divide to get W below. So W is equal to 300 divided by 25 is 12. So my final part of this, and this is the one I said is the most important, is check your answer to make sure it makes sense. Like an answer of negative 12 weeks would not make sense. That told me that maybe I did something wrong with my negative sign. The answer is written in a full sentence, so give it some context, give the answer. So Keith can withdraw money and your sentence can be more elaborate if you want, can withdraw money for 12 weeks. You could continue on and talk more about the narrative. Keith can withdraw money from his account for 12 weeks and still end up with $200 at the end of the summer. But basically, you're just giving it some units and in sentence form. So this is the problem that is like the demo to kind of introduce you to the process. The one you're going to be doing is this one, and I made a small adjustment to it just so we have the space we need. So if you want to pause it and try it, you can, but we're going to read the question. We're going to mark the important information. So if Kodak charges 12 cents per photo, that's probably important to know, with a $2 delivery fee. This is probably an antiquated question because of the context of it. $2 delivery fee is going to be added on. Walgreens is going to charge 16 cents per photo, but no delivery fee. We want to know for what number of photos do they charge the same amount. So if you're struggling at all, especially, start with what don't you know. Identify what your variable should be. What don't we know? We don't know the number of photos that they charge the same amount. So I'm going to make this my variable P. P is going to be the number of photos where Walgreens charge equals Kodak's charge. And honestly, I think Kodak might be out of business at this point. So we're going to write our equation off of the variable P. So we want to know, when is Kodak equal to Walgreens? When do they charge the same amount? So that's going to be where our equal sign goes, is between the two values, between Kodak and Walgreens being equal. So how do I write my equation for Kodak? Well, the word per here is indicating me that I'm going to take 12 cents times my number of photos, and then I'm going to have a $2 delivery fee added on. It's telling me the operation is plus 2. What does Walgreens charge? Walgreens charge, there's per again, that's 16 cents, 0.16 times P, and no delivery fee, so I can go ahead and put that in as plus 0 or not put it at all. So now I have an equation that I can solve. I can take 0.12 P to equal 0.04 P, and I can divide on both sides to get my value of, and be careful about this, 2 divided by 0.04. This is why you have a calculator. Your answer would be, if you want to work it out longhand, you can, but your answer would be 50. 50 is P. So that's our value. Again, does it make sense? If you can work through it, you can plug this back in and see what would Walgreens charge, what would Kodak charge, to make sure you're checking your answer. You got a negative 27, again, that's not an answer that makes sense. That tells you there's something wrong. But final step would be to write our answer as a sentence, and it would be, my sentence will be, for 50 photos, the two companies charge the same amount. So I'm giving units and explaining that I'm answering the question for what number of photos. For 50 photos, the two companies charge the same amount.